Howdy y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. I'm going to make a goodie today. We're going to have bread pudding, and it's a copycat of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse bread pudding. So it's a new recipe to me. Bread pudding's not new, but this is a new recipe, and it just sounded yummy, so I thought I would try it. So we're going to need some apples and raisins, French bread, eggs, cinnamon, vanilla, sugar, butter, and milk. And I've got to cut my bread into some pieces here. I've got just about everything prepped and ready to go. But I'm going to cut my bread into, like, it's French bread, little like 1-inch cubes or so. And the original recipe called for 1/4 of a pound, but I just don't know that that's going to be enough bread. So I'm going to make mine have a little more bread in it. When you make it, you can feel your way and see what you want to do. Cut it up here. Y'all, some days it feels a little bit like we're getting some fall weather. It's a little cooler, and I like that. Now we're supposed to grease or butter a 9x13 pan. I'm just going to spray it with some Pam. And you want day-old bread when you're going to make a bread pudding. So I bought this a day or two ago, and every time I go down there, they've got French bread on that day-old bread thing. Of course they didn't the day I needed some. So I had to wait for it to get a little older for me. Now, I've seen people toast it where it would be a little bit better. I'm going to just do that much for now and see what it looks like. Let me get my milk and butter, if the butter's melted out of the... And it has. You just scald your milk. Now the first thing we're going to do is, well, I've got to get my pan. I've got pretty stoneware pans that I could put it in, but I like this 9x13 because I have that lid and I don't have to keep trying to make the saran wrap stick to cover it or tin foil. So I'm just going to spray it so it won't stick too bad. One to grow on. Okay. Now I have to beat my eggs or whisk them till they're frothy. Get back in there. There's always something wanting to cut in front of you. I'm going to pop my yellows first. You want them, you don't want them stringy when you put your milk and all in it, so I'm going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla. Thank you, Susan. I'm going to add a cup of sugar. And a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon, and the recipe only called for 1/4. But I like cinnamon, so I added some extra. That cinnamon is wanting to clump up in there. Okay, I'm kind of slowly going to add this milk, and it's not real hot because it's sat there a little bit since I started. So this is 2 cups of milk and a ½ stick of butter. And I'm just using whole milk today. And I'm going to get me a spoon and taste of that. I might want to do something else to it. It tastes pretty good. Okay, now the recipe says to add the bread and to stir in your raisins and apple. I'm just going to put my bread down in there and let it soak a little bit. Add the raisins. Get out of there. I got some stubborn stuff on my hands today, and my apple. So that's it. 5 eggs, vanilla, cinnamon, sugar, milk, butter, French bread, raisins, apple, and a pinch of salt, it says. And a pinch is usually about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So I just got a little bit in that 1/4 of a teaspoon. And when I was a kid, Mama would make bread pudding, but we never had that lemon sauce to go on it till we went to a friend's house one time, and she had made that for her bread pudding. Boy, I was hooked. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this piece that I left out a while ago in there, and I'm going to cut it pretty small. There used to be a place that they had a buffet on the weekends, seafood, and we loved it. And their dessert was bread pudding with a whiskey sauce on it. Y'all, that was some of the best bread pudding I ever had in my life. I think that sauce topped the lemon sauce. It was good. But I guess they lost money doing a buffet. They had the best fried catfish in the world. So now they don't have the buffet anymore, and we don't go. That's where all of our special occasions, we would choose to go to Chain of Lakes to the buffet. Okay, now we're supposed to just pour this into our pan that we've greased or whatever we did to it, and we sprayed ours with paint. And bake it in a 350-degree oven. Oh, let's see how long it says. For about 45 minutes. So I'm going to get my bread pudding. It both started with a B anyhow. Get my bread pudding in here. And Troy likes raisins, so I'm going to sprinkle a few more raisins in mine too. Get my raisins. Got raisins courtesy of shopping at Costco. I'm sure that they'll soak up a little bit of that liquid. Okay, I'm going to put it in the oven, and I will bring y'all back when it's ready. And y'all know I usually use the June oven, but when I had my kitchen redone, they redid our wiring in the house from what we had done when we built it. And that guy didn't know what he was doing, and we didn't find out till too late. I never had trouble with throwing breakers. I could do whatever. And now if I cook 2 or 3 appliances at one time, it's going to throw the breaker. So when I turned my June oven on to heat it, it threw the breaker. So I decided I'd just use the regular oven and not worry about that, because I had my roaster going with the caramelized onions in it that y'all will see in a day or two. But because it pulled a lot of amps, I guess. But anyhow, that was so aggravating. So I'm using the regular oven instead of the June oven because I didn't want to throw breakers. So in about 40 minutes, I'll check on this and I'll bring y'all back to see some delicious bread pudding. I went to the post office a couple of days ago and I hadn't ordered anything, but I had a package. So I went to the window and Jeannie Tompkins sent to me, she said, "Dear, hello Gay, I saw this tea towel and instantly thought of you. I love your YouTube channel and watch every chance I get. Keep going." Jeannie Tompkins. And look y'all, raised on sweet tea and Jesus. I love Jesus and y'all know how I love my sweet tea. Isn't that just the cutest thing? I like a flour sack towel like this to spread over my bread when I first get it out of the oven to keep the flies, if there's any around, off of it and protect it. So that's what I'll be using this towel for, and every time I use it I'll think of Jeannie. Now I have a lot of gifts y'all have said. I've got a canning mat that I've used last night. I've put up potatoes and carrots. I've got pot holders that have been embroidered, pot holders that have been made by quilters that's absolutely too pretty to use. I've got lots of different things for the kitchen, and I think about my friends that send them to me when I use them. I've got homemade vanilla and Worcestershire sauce that I got from a friend in Maine, and she just does everything. Just got stuff. But I love my tea towel. I like that saying. I wanted me a t-shirt that said that, but I never have found one and bought it. But yeah, I was raised on sweet tea and Jesus. And that's how I raised my kids and grandkids. And if I ever get a great grandkid, that's what I'm going to help them learn about, Jesus and to love sweet tea. Okay, we'll let our bread pudding cook, and then we're going to taste of it and see how we like bread pudding with raisins and apples in it. I guess it's either old timers or some timers. I don't know if I actually said thank you or not, but Jeannie, thank you so much for that tea towel. It just made my day. I smiled all the way home from the post office. So now I'll be back a little bit with the bread pudding. Okay, y'all, I got it out of the oven. And it's kind of soft when you touch it, but that's going to be juicy. I'm going to let it cool just a little bit, and then I'll plate some of it up. But it looks wonderful, and I only wish I could smell it. Okay, I got some dished up, and I pinched a little bite off, and it is delicious. Let me show y'all over here where I took it out of the pan, and it holds its shape really well. See, I just cut it with a spatula and lifted it out. I'm gonna have to get a bite for y'all. Hope it don't burn me. It's not overly sweet. It had a cup of sugar in it. And every now and then you get about an apple, and it's not real mushy. I don't know what kind of apple I used. I used whatever I had on the cabinet. But it's very, very good. Now you can put you some vanilla ice cream on it, or some Cool Whip, or whipped cream. Or make you a whiskey sauce to go on it, or a lemon sauce. But it's good just like that. It is not hard. Like, I remember some of Mama's made with leftover biscuits would be like real firm. This is not like that. It's kind of chiffony. It's good. So y'all need to try this, and if you want to set your table real pretty and act like you're eating in a fancy restaurant, well, you can do that. But at home, we're just going to sit down over there with our fork and enjoy some good old home cooking. You know, I close out every time with my sad story, but things aren't looking any better. And you better get some stuff in your pantry. Get you stuff to make your Easter. Maybe go that far too, but your Thanksgiving and Christmas goodies, Get you some candy to hand out at Halloween. It's on the shelves plentiful right now. Plan your meals and get the things that your family eats the most and have you some extra. Because I'm going to tell y'all something, even if it's still there, I know we're not going to be able to afford a lot of stuff if it keeps going up. We'll just do without having that because our wages aren't going up any. We're on Social Security. So, you know, you better think about that too, that the cost is going to be so high and wages aren't going up and you're not going to be able to afford it, especially with your light bill doubling. Y'all need to put on your thinking caps and plan ahead a little bit. I'm just going to do my part to trust the good Lord. I'm doing what I can do to get a few things ahead and praying He'll stretch it if I need Him to when the time comes. Hope y'all have a blessed day and make some memories with your family. Gather them around your table and have it full of good food. Put your iPhones down and don't be looking at your phones. Be looking at each other and actually talking. Don't be sitting at the table texting. Okay? Make some memories one-on-one. The good Lord bless and keep y'all. I'm going to go eat a little bit of this bread pudding and I'll see y'all in a day or two.